Masta Ace is in the building. Masta Ace, how are you?
What's good, man? I'm good, man. Thanks.
Apologies for the delay. We're all trying to figure out how to navigate through this new streaming life, as it were.
No worries, man. Let's do it. How you been?
Where are you calling from? Where are you located during all this right now?
I live in New Jersey now. I moved from Brooklyn to New Jersey in 2006. I've been out here since.
Okay. And
Yeah.
what have you been doing to sort of stay sane during this pretty challenging time right now? What have you been focusing your energy on?
Um, I've been working on a hip hop musical that I've been writing for the last couple of years. I've put some time into that.
Yeah.
Um, Writing some of the songs, cleaning up some of the script. I'm doing some feature work for different people. Me and my wife do a lot of cooking around here, so I've been doing a few cooking posts.
I was peeping your Instagram. You have the crazy vegan culinary like chops going on right now.
Yeah.
Is that you and your wife, or like just one of you take the lead in the kitchen? Like, how's that work?
Now, my wife is definitely the head chef around here. She's not vegan though. She's not vegan. But she's learned how to make some really dope vegan meals for me, which is great. And I learn every day. There's certain stuff that I know how to cook and that I'm good at chefing up, and then there's other areas that I let her take the reins and handle it. But
See,
we've been eating well, man. We've been eating well.
yeah, you are doing vegan lifestyle in a way that seems healthy. I've done vegan before, but I haven't done healthy vegan. I have
Well, what's unhealthy vegan?
There's a lot of crap that you can eat that doesn't necessarily have dairy or meat in it that still isn't necessarily healthy. So a lot of things that are processed, everything that I see on your page looks fresh. It's
Yeah.
very like, it's organic. It seems it's very fresh, which I've done before too, but it can be very easy to slide into like a lot of processed foods. Too much tofu is not good for anybody as well, obviously.
Right. Yeah. No, I don't mess with tofu at all.
Yeah. Um, you thought you were getting hip hop trivia, but we're going into, vegan lifestyle here as well. So
That's all right. We're here to do it all.
we're here to do it all. We are so happy to have you here with us today. You are a legend. There's not many MCs in the game who have a career that has spanned for as long and touched in so many different areas as yours has. And, we're really honored to have you here. Shout out to Ben Merlis, who sort of helped connect the dots with the Cold Chillin' book. If you guys have not checked it out, you need to check out our guy Ben's retrospective on the Cold Chillin' label. He interviewed you and a lot of the key players, involved in the label. So definitely check that out.
Yep.
We've also seen you in our games. You were in the J Live chat a couple weeks ago, kind of talking some shit. You were
I
crazy.
got in there kind of late, so I didn't really get to see the full format of the game.
Yes.
I think I only caught like the last couple of questions, like the bonus round, and then like the one question before that, where
Yeah.
you asked them which of these four artists didn't sample. Who was it that I can't remember it was a particular artist. You said which one of these four artists didn't sample this artist, but I can't remember who the artist was.
I don't even remember who it was either. We do so many shows now that it seems like it was
Yeah,
a,
yeah.
but yeah,
But,
we touch on a lot of different areas, and if you're ready to get into it, we can get into it.
all right. How does it? I mean, how many questions? And I know you had like a bonus round and all this kind of
Yeah,
stuff. So let
yeah.
me know
So
what I'm in for.
there's 3 rounds that we're going to go into. There's a total of 10 questions in the first 3 rounds, and then the final round is 5 questions. It's like a
Okay.
speed round.
Okay.
So, and if you guys have time, or if you guys have any questions that you want to ask Ace, drop them in that little question box at the bottom of your screen. If we have time at the end of the show, we will get into that. So, Ace, our first round is called The Choice is Yours. And this is general multiple choice. They're worth
Okay.
5 points. We're going to get into it right now. The
Okay.
first question is, though largely a hip-hop label, Delicious Vinyl also signed and released albums by this funk acid jazz group. Was it A, Jamiroquai, B, Brand New Heavies, C, Soul to Soul, or D, Abstract Truth?
B, brand new heavies.
B, Brand New Heavies, and you would know because you have worked with them before.
That's right.
What was that experience like? You were on the heavy rhyme experience for Brand New Heavy. So
Yeah, that was my first foray into the world of Delicious Vinyl. Um, at the time, I was still signed to Cold Chillin' Records and was really desperately trying to get off of that label.
right.
Delicious called on me to rap on one of the songs for that album. They were pretty much done with the album. Actually, there were only three beats left, and they were like, if you can rhyme over one of these three, then we'll do a song.
Mm.
And I wasn't super happy with any of the beats because I was hearing the other joints they recorded with other artists and I liked a lot of those beats better. Like in particular, the one that Large Professor rhymed over, which I thought was like bananas. I wanted
Yeah.
I wanted that beat, but
So you got in late. You
um,
couldn't have what was
yeah, yeah, yeah.
over.
But I made the most of what I was given.
Absolutely. All right. So we're going to move on to the second question in this round. Second question is, this underground MC producer made a mark on the scene in 1995 with his single Father Time. Was it A, Count Bass D, B, Mike Geronimo, C, Socrates, or D, Big L?
Definitely wasn't Big L. You said Father Time. Um,
And you can rely on the chat as well. If people in the chat know the answer, we do allow that as well.
yeah. I'm gonna go Socrates, man, because that's my guy anyway. He produced a joint for me, so I'm gonna go with Socrates.
He's going Socrates, and that is absolutely correct. Um, you have worked, you say he's your guy. You've worked with him. Looking at your catalog, you've worked with a lot of people from a lot of different areas of the world. Socrates is repping Canada.
Yep,
Marco Polo is a guy who you've worked with, um,
yep.
and he's Canada. But I was looking, I was researching you, and you've worked with people all over the world. Like, what sort of was what made you kind of get into that? Like working with so
Uh,
many different people.
it actually just came from my travels. Since I would say probably since the year 2000, I've been going back and forth to Europe and touring, and every time we hit a city, potentially there's somebody at sound check or after the show that's like, "Yo, can we do a song?" And that's actually part of my income is doing features for different people. So I've gotten approached by people from really, I don't know how many different countries. I did an interview once, and the guy told me he researched it and said that I had collaborated with the most with people from the most countries around the world, which is believable because I've really collabed with a lot of people from a lot of different parts of the world.
Hmm. Yeah. So hey, I'm seeing in the chat. Am I blurry right now? Am I
Yeah,
pretty blurry?
you're super blurry. I can't even read the
Yeah.
choices.
Yeah, it's so crazy. It's clear. Yeah. Somebody says I need to pay my internet bill. I promise you, I pay it. I pay it. It's good. Let me see. I might wanna. You know what? Oh, I might end this real quick and then restart it just to see if that, because I want you to be able to see the questions. So I'm gonna end this broadcast real quick and then I'm gonna hop back on. So can we all just come back in a
Uh,
minute? We'll do that.
yep. All right.
All right, back in the building.
Yes.
All right, technical difficulties notwithstanding. If it happens again, we're just gonna push through. We'll figure it out.
All right.
All right, we are gonna move on to the next question, and that is, which NFL team did Maceo from De La Soul's son play for? Was it the Cowboys, the Giants, the Seahawks, or the Rams?
It was the Rams, without a doubt.
He says the Rams, and that is absolutely correct. And we threw this in because you have a bit of a connection to football as well. You were coaching for a little bit. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I coached high school football for 9 years in Brooklyn at Canarsie High School, and then I coached 2 more years at Irvington High School in New Jersey because it was closer to home, and so I tried to move it out to New Jersey. And just a little fun fact: Irvington High School is the alma mater of Queen Latifah.
Oh, wow. my Wi-Fi to see if that is making a difference.
It made a difference. It cleared up just now.
Okay, great. All right, then we're gonna rock with that. All right, let's move on to the next question in our round, the final one. Prince Paul's A Prince Among Thieves is a concept album that follows the story of an up-and-coming rapper named Tariq. Which MC played that lead role? Was it A, Black Thought, B, Grand Poobah, C, Breezy Bruin, or D, Wordsworth? Who was the protagonist in A Prince Among Thieves?
It was C, Breezy Bruin.
He says C, Breezy Bruin, and that is absolutely correct.
Breeze, what up?
Breeze, yeah, totally underrated MC. You are a guy who doesn't really get brought up as much as I feel some people do, but a lot of your albums are concept albums. Like a lot of your albums do have like themes. Like is that, would you say that is your thing? Like, do you like set out to make concept albums like that, or do they sometimes just develop into that, like as you're writing?
No, I plan to. That's always been the plan. Really, it started with my second album, Slaughterhouse, where I kind of had. I mean, I didn't have what I didn't have on Slaughterhouse was like characters. I had skits and stuff that were all kind of leading to a certain place, but it took me a few albums to figure out the exact formula. When I put out Sitting on Chrome in '95, I had characters like I had the cousin character Jerome and then myself, and there was a couple of girlfriend characters, but I didn't really have they didn't really have a lot of they weren't like named characters. They were just there. So it was me gradually working my way towards what eventually became Disposable Arts in 2001, where I wrote out a full script for characters and told an entire story that you could follow from the beginning of the album to the end of the album.
So you write the story first in as you sort of progress, and then like build the songs around the plot, or how does that?
No, totally the other way around.
Okay,
I
so you
don't
write this,
even,
and then
yeah,
the song.
I don't even think about what the concept of the album is going to be until I have the majority of the songs recorded, and then I basically tailor the story line around the songs.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Uh, asking people like what their favorite album is like that's a hard question. But my question to you would be, out of your albums that are conceptual, which one do you think like worked strongest, or do you feel was best as a concept, like as an overall story? Is there one where you're like you hold it in higher regard in terms of accomplishing like that narrative?
Well, to me, Disposable Arts kind of started it. That was
Mm,
really the beginning.
yeah,
I feel like that's my favorite album. But in terms of the storyline, I feel like when I got to Long Hot Summer, I learned so much from Disposable that I feel like Long Hot Summer took it to another level. So out of the storytelling, the full storytelling records, I'd probably say Long Hot Summer. And then
yeah,
we even end the album with the outtakes from the skits and everything. Like we really had it all figured out. We did the outtakes where people messed up the skits, and that was like a cool way to end the album off. And then I started doing that, having the outtakes on every album.
yeah. Amazing. All right. Well, Ace, so far flawless so far. So we're gonna move into our second round. And
Was
the
that was
second
that the
round,
was that the was that an easier round normally, that first round?
I'm not at liberty to say, Ace,
Okay,
but
all right.
I mean, we're not trying to make anybody look bad, but we are trying to, make you flex your hip hop knowledge a little bit. So,
All
do you
right. So
feel
I need.
are you stimulated at all, or are you bored? We don't want to bore you here.
Nah,
We'll
I'm not
step it
bored.
up.
I'm not bored, but I know there's gonna be some doozies coming, so I'm just getting ready.
All right, we do have some doozies. So our second round is called Picasso Baby. So in this round, I'm going to give you a piece of an album cover, and you have to identify what album it is by the little piece of art that you see. So now we're going
Uh
to test your art, your eyes here. So here's our
oh.
first one. What album cover is this? Is it RZA, Bobby Digital and Stereo, MF Doom, Operation Doomsday, Ghostface Killah, 36 Seasons, or is it the Loot Pack Sound Pieces, the Antidote?
It's B, MF Doom, Operation Doomsday.
He says MF Doom, and that is correct. It is MF Doom's debut under the MF Doom moniker, Operation Doomsday. You recently, in 2012, I want to say, put out an album over all MF Doom beats.
Yeah.
what made you do that? I know it wasn't a traditional collaboration in that a lot of those instrumentals were already, you know, existing, but
Right.
like, what made you sort of seek out Doom's production for that?
Well, so a good friend of mine, Roman Oben, who's an NFL great. He played for the Giants, the Buccaneers, and the Chargers, Browns. He came by one day and he had some beats playing in his car, and I was like, "What is that?" And he was like, "Oh, that's just MF Doom instrumentals." I said, "Word?" He said, "Yeah, he put all the instrumentals out. I'll burn you a copy if you want." I was like, "Yeah, do that." So he burns me a copy. It had to be like 40 instrumentals.
Yeah.
And
It's perfect.
I took that CD, that burn, and I just started driving with it. Like I would, you know, when I was going back and forth to Brooklyn, because I was coaching at the time, so I'm living in Jersey, coaching in Brooklyn, and I would just drive those long drives playing beats. And as I played those doom beats, I started getting like ideas for little flows, rhymes. Like started thinking, oh, how would I rhyme to this? I would probably rhyme like in this kind of flow. So I started getting these ideas, and I got the idea to do a mixtape. I said, I'm gonna do a mixtape, just a free mixtape that I throw out there, just something to put out, sort of like between projects. That was the initial idea. And then we had a meeting with Fat Beats about something else. Shout out to Fat Beats, I got their shirt on tonight.
Nice.
Uh, we got a we had a meeting with Fat Beats about some unrelated stuff, and my partner Filthy Rich just mentions off the cuff, "Oh yeah, Ace is working on this free mixtape over Doom Beats," and they were like, "What? Free? Oh no, that we that can't be free. We got to sell that."
Cha-ching.
And yeah, they put the battery in my back to make it a full out project. So I knew at that point it couldn't just be a bunch of just random rhymes. I had to like make it about something. So I came up with the concept M.A. Doom, Son of Yvonne as an album that I could use to sort of honor the memory of my moms.
Amazing. And did you ever wind up having contact with Doom? I know he's a very mysterious character. Like, how did? Because I
Yeah,
know he's got a verse on the album.
yeah, yep. So the year before in 2011, he and I he and I had a show together at the Montreux Jazz Festival, very famous music festival in Europe. I think
Yep.
it's either in France or Switzerland. It's like right at the border.
I think it's Switzerland. I want to say, yeah.
Right. And so after the show, I told him he knew about the album because I had been kind of mentioning it on social media a little bit. So
Yeah.
he already knew about it when I told him, and I was like, "Yo, I want to play you some of the joint." By then I had probably 8, 9 songs done. I said I'll come by the room after the show and play the album for you. So I came by. I played him the whole entire record, all the songs I had. He was like, "Oh, it's dope, it's dope." I said it would be super dope if you could bless me with a verse. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm with it, I'm with it." And so he blessed me with a verse, and I put Big Daddy Kane on the same song, and that's a cool combo. Me, Doom, and Kane.
Yeah. Yeah. And just the fact that you were able to finagle the Doom verse, like, you already are a champion. Like,
It took a
that's not easy
while.
to do.
It took a while. It definitely took a while.
Yeah, the villain. All right, we're gonna move on to the next question in our round. What album cover is this? Is it The Lynch Mob, Gorillas in the Mist? Is it Boss, Born Gangsters, Cool G Rap and DJ Polo, Live and Let Die? Or is it Brother Lynch, Hung Loaded?
It's C. Coogee rapping Polo, Live and Let Die.
No hesitation, folks. He knows his album covers, and that is absolutely correct. Um, all right, we're going to move on to the next question in this round.
Okay.
Final one in this round, actually. What album cover is this? Is it UGK's Riding Dirty, Mac 10, Based on a True Story, Fat Boys, Crushin', or is it King T, the Triflin' album?
I think it's D. King T, the Trifling album.
He thinks it's D, folks. Let's see if he's correct. You're goddamn right he's correct. It's Masta Ace. You've probably talked about this a lot before, but, being an East Coast guy, you made a very definitively sort of West Coast leaning album early in your career. What was what sort of motivated and sparked that? And did that feel like a risk at all for you? Like, was that because not a lot of people were doing stuff like that?
Yeah, that's the Sitting on Chrome album you're referring to.
Yes.
And very often in interviews, I refer to that album as my compromise album.
Hmm.
And I say that because after the success of the remix "Born to Roll" turned into this huge record that was all over the radio, and the video was like #1 on the box and all this kind of stuff. It turned into this sort of car culture phenomenon on the West Coast, in the Midwest, in the South.
Right.
Um, Delicious Vinyl approached me right after that, and like, what are you thinking about for this next album? And I had some ideas on what I wanted to do, and they were like, well, we kind of feel like, you're onto something with this Born to Roll and this car culture movement. People are really feeling that. All the essays in LA are really loving you. They're digging you, and we think if you could deliver a car culture album, we could really like go somewhere with this. With we could maybe do gold platinum with this. So that's what they brought to me, and then it was up to me to try to figure out how to execute, an album that 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 gave them what they wanted, but still felt right to
Authentic.
me and good to
Yeah.
me and authentic to who I was as a Brooklyn kid. So that's what I tried. That the result of that was Sitting on Chrome, and I feel like I used the drums that we use, the type of drums that we use in New York. I feel like I used those drums, and then I added some a little more bit more live kind of instrumentation and synthier sounds. But if you really listen to the album song for song, it's not super West Coast. It's just certain singles. I had the song "Sitting on Chrome," the title cut, "INC Ride," where I used
Right.
the Isley Brothers, and then "Born to Roll." Those were like the main singles that, of course, the label pushed for because they
Sure.
felt like those joints would appeal more to that audience.
Right. Yeah. It's
But
super interesting. All right. We're gonna move on to our next round. All you Brainiac Dum Dums, if you have questions for Ace, drop them in the question box at the bottom. We're gonna get into that at the end of our show. So our third round, Ace, is called
okay.
Digging in the Crates.
Oh,
So these are all questions about samples. So I'm gonna ask you a question and then play you a sample, and you have to answer. So you're doing good
okay.
so far.
All right.
Flawless so far. Nothing wrong. I don't want to jinx it, but
This is when I jumped in on the J Live, and I was like, "Ooh, that's tough."
right. It would, J Live should, if all was fair, J Live would be in here, kind of like hassling you. I don't know if J Live's in the house. It's never too late. He might show up late. All right, we're going to go on to our first question in this round. Jacques Lussier filed a lawsuit against this rapper for sampling and not clearing his song Pulsion. So I'm going to play you that sample right now. You have to tell me who did not clear it and got
Okay.
sued.
Okay.
Here we go. Is it T.I., Eminem, Big Pun, or Snoop Dogg?
That's B, Eminem.
He says B, Eminem,
I love that joint.
and that is correct.
How did Dr. Dre think he was going to get away with not clearing that?
I can only assume they were smoking a lot of weed, maybe.
I mean, that's like super like obvious. It's like right there. It's like he didn't chop it, he didn't flip it, he didn't do nothing cute with it. It's right there in front of you.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe
look,
maybe they thought it was such an obscure artist that nobody would know.
right. Yeah, it's definitely it is crazy for somebody on that level to not do that due diligence. M is a guy who has kind of like heralded you throughout his career. This guy who started as like an underground MC and became arguably one of the bigger rappers, in the culture. He's really bigged you up like throughout. What has your relationship been like with M? Because you guys collaborated early on. There was a song called Hellbound that you did.
Yeah. When we did the Hellbound song, I had never met him. I didn't even know him at the time.
Yeah,
How that song came about was I was working out of a studio, 7888. My partner, Filthy Rich, once again, he had the studio out in Queens where a lot of artists would come through. And during those early days, M came through. This is before M was signed, before anybody really knew who he was.
sure.
And I guess they threw him a few bucks to do a verse for something, and they never used it. So that his verse was just kind of sitting around collecting dust, and then he blows up. And so as they were working on this new compilation called Game Over Volume One, they had an Eminem verse and a beat, and they were like, "You want to jump on this?" And I was like, "Definitely." So Eminem's verse was already laid down. I actually, the first time I met him, I played it for him. I brought it and played it for him because he didn't even remember doing that verse. But when I played it, he was listening. He's like, "Oh yeah, I remember this. I remember this rhyme. I remember this rhyme." Like, he by when I met him, by the time I met him and played it for him, he was on the Up in Smoke tour with Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, all of them.
So
He was
leveled up quite a bit.
yeah,
From,
yeah.
yeah.
He was still an opening act. He wasn't heavily. He was still opening, but he was big. He was big.
Yeah. Shout out to Mr. C in the building. Mr. C, a legend. We have Mr. C in the house.
Where my wife Lachey is in here too.
Shout out to Lachey. We love it when the family. We've had wives and we've had moms also in the building when we've done some of these games before. We're a family friendly show. That's what we do. We get deep into we keep it family friendly. All right, we're gonna move on to our next question, Ace. Here we go.
All right.
TLC by Average White Band was used for this Boogie Down production song. I'm going to play you that sample. Is it You Struggling, Beef, You Know the Rules, or The Kenny Parker Show?
It's C. You know the rules.
Absolutely. Shout out to Lyric Jones. We see you there in the chat. Lyric Jones is another former guest in the hot seat. She did pretty well, too.
Okay. Jonesy,
we see you. If you guys have questions for Ace, drop them in that question box. We're going to get into a little Q&A if we have time at the end here. All right, final question in our round. Here we go.
Okay.
Which of these artists has not sampled Grand Funk Railroad's Nothing Is the Same? I'm going to play you that sample, the Grand Funk Railroad. You have sampled this, if I'm not mistaken, but let's hear it. Is it Redman, The Roots, Beastie Boys, or De La Soul? Who has not sampled it, Ace?
I definitely don't know this answer because I didn't know anybody besides me sampled that record.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna take an educated guess and say B, The Roots, because they usually play their stuff live.
Okay. He's saying The Roots. So I'm actually gonna prove it out to you. I have them all queued up here. So we're gonna go on a ride. We're gonna go on here. No pun intended. Sitting on Chrome. All right. So first of all, yes, shout out to you. You definitely sampled it. Also sampled by De La Soul on their De La Soul, on Balloon Mind State album.
Wow.
So De La sampled it.
Okay.
On an official remix by Mike Nardone, the Beastie Boys sampled it.
Never heard this.
This is a remix of the joint they did with Q-Tip, the Get It Together joint.
Yeah, I love Get It Together. That's one of my ringtones.
Oh, look, we're all learning some hip hop trivia tonight. Now we know about Masta Ace's ringtone game. This is crazy. I might put that in a future show if that's fine.
Sure.
All right, so this is the moment of truth, Ace. You said that it was The Roots. We're about to see, is it Redman or The Roots who did not sample it? The Roots, on their album Rising Down, sampled or reinterpolated it. So the answer was Redman. Was the one.
It was a fair guess.
It was a fair guess, and hey, one question wrong is nothing to sneeze at right now. I mean, you've been mopping the floor. It's been a slaughterhouse. I don't use that term very loosely, but you've been slaughtering these questions. I gotta get in some bad jokes here. It's just
all right. That's fair.
Yeah. All right, so Ace, we have reached the final round, and the final round is called Time's Up. So you might have caught a bit of this in the J-Live game. What it is that we're gonna do? I'm going to give you 3 categories. You get to choose one. You will have 90 seconds to answer 5 questions in the round of your choice. Here are your categories. You get to pick one of these. The first one is delicious vinyl trivia. The
Okay.
second category is paying homage to Masta Ace.
Mm.
And the third category is these are all trick questions, emphasis on trick.
Mm.
You pick the category and you will have 90 seconds to complete the round.
I'm going delicious vinyl trivia.
He's going delicious vinyl. He knows a bit about that life. So you will have 90 seconds. There are 5 questions. I have OC's time's up here. It is time to 90 seconds. So when the time is up on OC, your time is up. You get 1 guess. If you don't know the answer, we can skip and come back to it. And as always, you can rely on our chat. They are an eager bunch. They're not always accurate, but sometimes they are. We got some hip-hop nerds.
Okay,
So, hey,
okay.
if you're ready, we're going to get
I'm
into it. All right. The first question in the delicious vinyl round. This member of the Far Side is the only group member to release a solo album on delicious vinyl.
Fat Lip.
That is correct. This artist gave Delicious Vinyl their first smash hit in 1989.
Young MC.
It is not Young MC.
It's
All
Tone
right.
Loc.
It was Tone Loc. Eric Hayes, the designer of the Delicious Vinyl logo, is married to this actress.
Oh, shit. Skip. Next one.
All right, we're going to skip it. Delicious Vinyl also had a short-lived metal label imprint under this name. What was the name of their metal label?
Skip.
All right, we're going to skip it. Members of this group make cameos in the Far Side's music video for Drop. They're not on the song, but they appear in the video.
Yeah. Born Americans.
It is not Born Americans. We were looking for the Beastie Boys. All right, we're going to go back to the ones you skipped. Who is Eric Hayes married to? It's an actress.
I have no clue.
He doesn't have a clue. Our time is running up. Does the chat know? Does the chat want to? You can use the chat.
I don't see anybody.
Delayed. Yeah. Oh, and our time is up, Ace. I'm sorry. You got one of those right. So, delicious was a little difficult.
I didn't realize. Yeah.
We got to get tough. So, to answer, Eric Hayes, the designer of the Delicious Vinyl logo, is married to Rosie Perez, believe it or not.
I didn't know that.
Little factoid. Delicious Vinyl had a short-lived metal label under the name...
I couldn't remember the name of it.
Malicious Vinyl.
Yeah, I couldn't remember that.
We got to get in the cut for some of these. And then, yes, the Beastie Boys made cameos in the Far Side music video for Drop. They obviously sampled King Ad Rock on the Drop.
Yeah, I was so thrown off by the first couple that my brain was not working.
All right, it happens to the best of us. You are a hip hop legend, so we will, we'll cut you some slack. So Ace, I'm going to total your score right now. While I do that, I want to know from you, who is somebody who you think we should bring on the questions next? We like to ask our guests who they challenge to come on. So let us know who you think would be good to put on this show.
Oh man, I think Questlove would be an amazing. He would destroy this game.
Questlove would be incredible.
Yeah.
That's a good recommendation. Ace, what do you have coming up? I know obviously a lot of plans have changed right now with the COVID-19 virus, but what can the fans and people kind of look out for you for the rest of this year?
Mr. C said he should be a guest too, by the way.
We would love to have Mr. C. Mr. C, we're gonna slide in the DMs. I didn't mean that in a sexual way, just we'll slide in the DMs and we'll try to set that up. But Ace, what can people look for with you?
So right now, I'm sitting on about 10 or 12 Marco Polo beats. We're gonna try to do we're gonna do another album together because A Brooklyn Story, which came out in 2018, was a very well received album. We did really well with it. So we're gonna go back and put one more together. So I got about 10 or 12 of his beats that I've been holding. I haven't written one word yet to it. I'm just waiting for the inspiration. And you should look forward to that sometime next year. And also, I'm still working on this musical, this hip hop musical. I've been working on it for about 2 years now, and
Yeah.
it's getting closer and closer. The musical is loosely based on the storylines of Disposable Arts, A Long Hot Summer, and The Fallen Season, 3 of my albums.
Oh, wow.
So some of the character names you'll recognize from those albums, and yeah, it's coming together really well so far.
Amazing. So that all sounds incredible. And yeah, I mean, the hip hop musical is a thing. It's definitely proven its worth in society. And like, I can only imagine one with you would be amazing. So I've totaled your score. Ace, you got 10 out of 15 right, which is a healthy score. We're generating our leaderboard here. We'd love to have you back at some point. There's a lot of people who want to go head to head. We're working on a head to head game right now. I don't know if you'd be interested, but
Yeah.
you have an open door. You are a champion in our eyes, no matter what. Ace, if you have some time, we'd love to take some questions from the chat. Do you have some time?
Yeah.
Yes, guys, drop some questions in the little question box on the right. Shout out to Vibe Magazine. I don't know if it's the magazine themselves or I'm sure it's a representative of the magazine. Vibe, shout us out. Put the questions and make sure you cover this Masta Ace musical that's coming up. All right. So DT Real MC asks, do you have a favorite song and what's your favorite song you wrote? So it's 2 questions. Do you have just a favorite song? It could be by anybody. And what is your favorite song that you wrote? These are tough questions.
Yeah, my favorite song could probably change every day, but right now for some reason I'm channeling Bounce Rock Skate, Vaughn Mason.
Yeah.
That's just one of those songs that every time I hear it I get goosebumps, and it reminds me of my youth and my childhood, and that's definitely one of my favorite songs for sure.
Yeah.
In terms of favorite song of mine that I wrote, again, that's a tough one. I probably would say Beautiful, but if you ask me tomorrow, I might have a whole different question, a whole different answer. But I'll say my song Beautiful.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, we got some more questions coming up in the question box. Let's see what we got here. Pierce asks, favorite Canadian beat maker? I feel like we know some of them, but yeah, who are you feeling? And just maybe producers in general that you're really into right now.
My favorite Canadian producer is between Marco Polo and Marco Polo.
All right, yeah, that's a fair answer. All right, let's see what else we got. Really, Denise really asked, do you listen to music when you cook, and what do you listen to? That's a good question.
Sometimes I do, yes. But typically, if I'm doing anything in the kitchen, instead of listening to music, I'm playing a beat, something I have to write to. So what I'll do is I'll put a beat on something that I have to come up with some lyrics for, and I'll let that play over and over again while I'm cooking or cleaning, whatever I'm doing. And I find that I come up with better lyrics when I'm doing something else, keeping myself busy doing something else, not when I'm sitting down, in front of the phone or the pad, and I'm trying to come up with. I never come up with my best stuff that way. It's usually when I'm doing something, and my mind is not even on music, but the beat is playing, and that's how I come up with the best lines.
That's flow. That's like when you're not trying to force it, and you just let the actual inspiration just kind of like seep through.
Yep.
All right. We have a question. Where is the Biz Markie puppet at now?
I honestly don't know. The last I heard, it was in a museum in Seattle, Washington, but I don't know if it's still there. If that museum even still, it could have just been like
a traveling.
Yeah. So I don't know where it is right now. That the last I heard, it was in pretty bad shape, kind of falling apart because it was made of kind of like styrofoam, sort of, and painted styrofoam. So I imagine it's probably falling apart pretty bad right now. It probably could be restored. Who knows?
Unlike you, who a few people have mentioned, you look as young as you did like when you first came out. Like we had some questions.
It might seem that way, but trust me, I've looked at pictures of me 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, and there's definitely, I can see the difference. I'll put it to you like that.
All right. Well, we don't want to gas you up too much, but some people had pointed. You don't look like an old man, is what people are saying. You're not an old man.
There's some grays in there. You can see them a little bit. They in there.
People age differently. I'm only 12 years old, so I mean, like, I'm not aging very well at all. Pretty crazy. All right, let's see what else we got in the question box. Somebody asked, "What's the story behind Brooklyn Masala?" And
No,
let for those who don't know what Brooklyn Masala is.
yeah, it's a song off of my album Alone Hot Summer. It actually features my wife at the end. She sings a little piece at the end of the song.
Yeah.
But the song is not based on any particular true story. It was just a love song that I actually originally recorded it in Philly with the Touch of Jazz. Jazzy Jeff had a production team called Touch of Jazz, and shout out to my guy Darren Limitless Henson, who produced the original version. I was in Philly working on music for writing some songs for Will Smith, and that's one of the songs that I laid down. And just decided that this song is more this should be for me. So I had an original version that I recorded, but I wound up saying, you know what, I'm gonna keep this joint for me, and I used it for myself.
Yeah, got to tuck that, keep it in the stash. Exactly. All right, let's see what we got. DJ Steve Wonder, shout out Steve Wonder. Have you ever performed Crooklyn Dodgers with Buck and Ed?
Yeah, I have a couple times. I want to say the most recent was at Prospect Park. There was a big show at Prospect Park for the summer stage, New York City summer stage.
Yeah.
And they actually had both versions of Crooklyn performed the same night, back to back. So they had me, Buckshot, same night. They had me, Buckshot, and Special Ed come out with Ali Shaheed Muhammad DJing for us. We did our version, and right after that, Premier hit the set, and he brought out OC, J. Rue, and Chubb Rock, and they did their versions back to back. It's like one of the dopest things ever.
Amazing. All right, we got some more questions. Let's see what we have here. What new or current rappers do you like? Asked Mr. C.
See, I don't know if Kendrick or J. Cole are considered new and current or not.
Relatively, I would count them as like newer. Yeah.
Okay, I like those guys. I like I've always been big on Joyner Lucas as an MC, as a lyricist. It's a few other cats, man, that I've been playing. Oh man, that's just to name a few. It's a couple of other dudes that I'll think of in a minute that I play. Oh, YB and Corday, my wife just reminded me. He's pretty new. My daughter put me on to him. I didn't know who he was at all.
Right.
And my daughter had never come to me before with an artist and said, I want you to hear something. Like that never happened before. So when she came to me, I'm like, okay, I need this. Let's see what. I'm so curious to see what this was going to be. And we sat together and listened to the whole album. And dude can rhyme. He can rhyme. Yeah. It's not like all trappy. It's not super duper trappy. He's got a few trappy vibe joints on there, but dude can spit, man. And that's all I'm about. Like, can you rhyme? Can you rhyme? And right. is it saying something? And he has content. So yeah, I'm glad my wife reminded me of that. That dude is so dope.
Yeah. All right. Let's see who else we got. What else we got here? Heat Miser 8 asks, was there ever an MC in the industry who tried to battle you?
As far as like people with records out, not really. Nah.
Not a guy outside of the club or the venue. Those don't count.
Most of my battles was like early in my career, coming up, trying to prove yourself, battling dudes in high school and in the neighborhood, stuff like that. But nobody in the industry.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a wise thing to do. So it's good that they didn't. Let's see, we have maybe time for one or two more. Heat Miser also asks, what was your most memorable performance? You've done so many shows. What was a performance that sticks out in your head? Probably not the worst, just the most memorable.
Yeah, probably my show in London, because this was like really early in my career. My first album was out, and I found out that I was getting a lot more buzz in the UK than I knew about, and so I hit the stage. I was actually one of the opening acts for Public Enemy and EPMD at the London Arena.
Woo!
About 10,000 people were there. I never performed in front of that many people in my life. Like to run out at a show like that with that many people, and for them to know my songs and know the words, and my song "Letter to the Better" was a huge record over there. I didn't even know. And
Wow.
as soon as we dropped "Letter to the Better," like I would say out of the 10,000 people, 5,000 were jumping up and down when that beat came on, and I was like, "Yo!" It was just it blew my mind. So that was like one of the first experiences.
That's amazing. All right, Ace, we're going to let you go. We really appreciate you joining us. I mean, just a huge salute to you, to your catalog, to everything you've done for the game. I mean, we're all such big fans. Shout out to Ben again for connecting the dots on this.
Word.
So happy to have you. We will definitely stay in touch, and we would love to do something in the future. We got a couple other things brewing, and you're the epitome of what we want to showcase on this show. So salute to you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me. This was like a very fun experience. I knew it was gonna be after seeing Jay live on here. I knew it was gonna be fun.
Yeah,
And when Mr. C gets on here, I'm definitely gonna be tuning in for that because he thinks he's a trivia guy. He thinks he got all the records, all the songs.
yeah.
So make sure you dig real deep for those choices of questions for him. Don't make it too easy for him.
Maybe we'll hit you up. We'll run our questions by you first to just make sure that they've got the ACE stamp of approval
All
before
right.
before we do that. If you guys are watching us for the first time, make sure you follow us at The Questions Hip Hop. Follow me at Sean Dammit. Follow at DJ Steve Wonder. We have a show lined up next week. We've got comedian Tony Baker is going to be joining us. We have Nikki Jean from Rhyme Sayers. Nikki Jean, who collaborated with Lupe Fiasco on Hip Hop Saved My Life. She's going to be one of our guests. We have DJ Mighty Mai is also going to be joining us on the show. We are going to keep going. We have a lot more in store. So thank you for your support. We hope everybody's staying safe. Ace, once again, thank you so much. We
Thank you,
appreciate you.
man.
Peace.
No doubt. Peace.